Hello and welcome to Friday, the Pittsburgh Land Bank board meeting for June 13th, 2025. And apologize for 6 minutes late here. We will get started. And to get started, I just want to mention that I'm the Pittsburgh City Councilman Bobby Wilson, the chair of the Land Bank. And we want to start with roll call. And I will give it to Director Stadelman to call the roll.
Thank you, Chair. This is Sally Stadelman, Acting Executive Director of the Pittsburgh Land Bank. Councilman Bobby Wilson.
Here.
Councilman Daniel Lavelle. Councilman Kahari Mosley.
Here.
Director Wanda Wilson.
Here.
Director Jennifer Cash Wade. Director Kirk Berkeley. Director Steve Mazza.
Here.
Director Tamara Dudikovich.
Here.
And Director Tammy Thompson.
Here.
Okay, we have quorum. Back to you, Board.
Okay, how many
Chair.
present?
More
than
I would say 6 members.
six members present. Okay. That moves us into public comment. And I have a statement I just want to make on public comment that we make every meeting. Please use the raise hand function in the bottom menu if you wish to speak during public comment. As a reminder, public comment is taken at the beginning and the second time at the end of the meeting. To begin, please state your name, neighborhood, and or organization affiliation. You will have 3 minutes to speak. And I know that we have several speakers here, so we will work through the list that we have, and we will start. And I will turn it over to Director Stadelman.
Thanks, Chair. I've got a list of 39 registered speakers here, so I'll call the speaker and the person on deck. So our first speaker is going to be Stephanie Ackers, followed by Josette Bankston. Ms. Ackers. Ms. Ackers? Okay, I will circle back here. And next we have Josette Bankston.
Sally, this is Heather. She has an older version of Zoom. She's here. She just can't, I can't open her mic because she has an upgrade.
Is that Stephanie or Josette that's having that problem?
Stephanie Akers.
Okay. Okay, we'll see if we can. I think they just can't get on. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can circle back to Miss Ackers and start with Miss Bankston. Josette Bankston. Oh, okay. Next we have Allie Brush, followed by Carlin Campbell. Oh, Allie. Allie, are you there? I don't know why. Jonathan, is there? Do we have a technical issue here that we can't hear? Okay. Okay, Carlin Campbell. Have to come back. Are we having a technical issue with speakers' microphones that we're not hearing anyone? Yeah. Oh, Heather, do you know if there's an issue with the mics?
So I unmuted the Josette Bankston person, but they did not speak.
Okay. What about Allie Brush?
Your Allie Brush person, she was the one who has the Zoom issue. And the next person that you called is just on.
Okay, so Carlin's, and then sorry, you're saying Allie Brush has Zoom issues? It's not updated?
I just unmuted her. She can talk now. Allie Brush.
Okay. Oh, also, do we have, make sure we have, Okay. I'd also like to note that Councilman Lavelle has joined us. He was just being promoted from an attendee. Okay, so I have Linnell Hale, followed by Bonita Harris. Miss Hale? Or Mr. Hale? Miss Linnell Hale? Okay. And then Bonita Harris? That per I'm not sure. I see Jennifer's, and then we have Jennifer next. Okay. What about Jennifer Hyde? Does it appear that person's Jennifer Hyde? Are you able to unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Oh, you can?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. I know there's other people are on the line here. Oh, so, my name is Jen Hyde. I'm the director of operations at Hope Pittsburgh. Been with nation for 10 years. The program director. So I work directly with kids, and I think I can offer a little perspective just as an employee. I'm coming to, but I work in a residential treatment facility, and it's there. Our goals are to
I'm so sorry, Ms. Hyde. Your audio is significantly cutting out. So I know we have you registered as here to speak on in support of the Boys Hope Girls Hope sale.
then I came home. I was just like,
What in the Ms. Hyde, we're gonna skip. We'll try and come back to you. But next I have Brian Hip, followed by Malachi Holden. Brian Hip, are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm so sorry to hear about my colleagues' technical difficulties. My name is Brian Hip. I'm the Vice President of Mission Effectiveness at Boys Hope, Girls Hope at the network headquarters office. I'm actually calling in from St. Louis, but my audio is okay. You can understand?
Yes, we can
Wonderful.
hear you.
Great. Well, it's a privilege to be able to address you on behalf of in favor of the sale today. Just a brief word about my role and who I am. I started with the organization of Boys Hope Girls Hope uh, almost 26 years ago in our founding affiliate, which is St. Louis, Missouri. We currently serve 1,200 young people across the United States and also in Guatemala and Mexico in 14 different cities. Pittsburgh is a long-standing affiliate of Boys Hope Girls Hope, who recently changed its name to Hope Ignites. The thing that I would want to convey to you, first, I started out in my organization working directly with the children and the families of our program, then became executive director. I launched a strategic plan in St. Louis that was very similar to the goal of this project for Hope Ignites or Boys Hope Girls Hope Pittsburgh, in that we had some residential sites and academy sites, that is working with young people in out of school time care, and our administrative offices, but separate locations that were scattered, and we had the desire to come to find a home in a community that reflected the presence of and the nature of the young people in our program, and to be a positive presence. And we actually accomplished that back in 2014. And it obviously required a lot of effort on the part of the community and a part of our organization in St. Louis, Missouri, because of course there are always concerns when you're bringing in an organization or a building project to a community. One thing that I will say, just to endorse the and to encourage the what a positive opportunity it is. Over the years, over my 26 years, I can tell you that the it's not just the statistical success of the organization. We have, in our history, produced over 564 college graduates. We have 34 of our alumni who have gone through the program that are currently serving on our boards of directors. That is, they're upstanding individuals, exemplary individuals who provide wealth, wisdom, and guidance. The organization has a track record of almost 50 years of existence and quality. And whenever neighbors
Thank you, Mr. Hip. Next, we have Malachi Holden, followed by Sister Francine Horos. Malachi Holden.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Hey, my name is Malachi. I live on the 700 block, just a couple doors down from this planned development. Everything from what I can see of this, it seems like a really good thing for the neighborhood and for the kids. So, I mean, it seems like a win-win scenario. We get these kids here will get to have a better opportunity and better education. And my neighborhood gets to improve an empty lot and raise my property value, which I'm, of course, excited about. In terms of the specific purchase, my understanding is there's kind of the question of whether to purchase an extra parcel and expand the home or whether to keep it on the place that's already been purchased. I am a fan of using space to its full potential. So if there's an extra lot to be purchased and an extra parcel, then I want that purchased and I want to use the full space. I don't want to see empty lots on my block. So I'm a fan of this purchase, and I want it to be. I want to see the full size project go through. So everything I can see about this organization seems like it's going to be safe for the neighborhood and unobtrusive. It has a good reputation. So yeah, I'm happy to welcome you all to the neighborhood. That's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you, Malachi, and sincere apologies for butchering your name. Next, we have Sister Francine Horos, followed by Brent Jernigan.
You hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Sister Mary Francine Horace. I live at 1500 Woodcrest Avenue in Moon Township. I am a Felician sister, and I was principal at Our Lady of the Sacred Heart High School when Girls Hope built their house on our property in Moon Township back in 2007. The girls were neighbors to the convent, to 7 families, to the Sisters Chaplain, and to Olsh High School, where the high school girls attended classes. The relationship between Girls Hope and Olsh was very good, with open lines of communication. Guidance counselors would meet with the in-house counselors from Girls Hope to provide the best education for the girls. I was in constant contact with Jen Hyde, the program director, in the event of any concerns, which there were none. The girls participated in extracurricular activities at Olsh and often would be seen walking home from an event. There was never any disturbance in the neighborhood because of the girls. Leaving this location was the result of strategic planning for the future of the program. And if the need would ever arise, we would not hesitate to welcome the girls back on our property. So I think the decision to build a bigger place for the Boys and Girls Hope on the east side of Pittsburgh is really favorable. And I thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, sister. Next, we have Brent Jernigan, followed by Scott McLaughlin. Brent, are you with us? Oh, Brent. Okay, next we have Scott McLaughlin.
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. My name's Scott McLaughlin. I live at 201 Fernview Drive in Moon Township. My office is at 109 Zeta Drive in Pittsburgh in Fox Chapel. I wanted to come on today. I work for P.W. Campbell in favor of this purchase and to give a little bit of light on the construction aspect. I'm a project executive with P.W. Campbell. P.W. Campbell is a design build firm. We do architecture and design as well as construction work around Pittsburgh and up and down the East Coast. It's a family-owned company in the fourth generation. I believe it's a 114-year-old company, and with deep roots founded in Pittsburgh. Just to try and put a little ease into the understanding of the construction, we're obviously a very professional company. We hire professional subcontractors. We make sure our job sites are very clean, that we fence things off properly, that we are timely, especially. We don't like to see construction projects start and then sit and become unclean and a hindrance to the neighborhood. We like to get things continued moving forward. And that's really the big thing that we wanted to make sure we get across, is that we want to be a part of the community as much as Boys Hope, Girls Hope wants to be a part of the community. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Next, we have Joanne Monroe, Miss Monroe, and then followed by Roseanne Oberleitner. All right, Miss Monroe.
Good afternoon. My
Hello.
name is Joanne Monroe. I have probably been a homeowner on North Aiken Avenue for 51 years. I'm here today to express my strong objection to the Pittsburgh Land Bank proposed sale of the vacant property to Boys Hope and Girls Hope of Pittsburgh. When my husband and I purchased our home more than 5 decades ago, we chose this neighborhood because it was quiet, safe, and deeply rooted in community. Our small dead-end street consists of just 4 homes, 3 which are occupied. The 4th was recently purchased by Boys Hope, Girls Hope, and they now seek to purchase the vacant lot next to it. Our street is already surrounded by 3 non-residential institutions, a church at the corner, the neighborhood academy, and now potentially a group home housing 16 youth. Let me be clear. Homeowners were never informed about the sale of this property. There was no notice, no outreach, just a sign announcing the sale of a vacant lot to this group home. I object to the proposed sale for several reasons. 1, increased traffic and parking issue. I now often cannot park in front of my home and have to track down school visitors from Neighborhood Academy that ask them to move their vehicles. Adding another non-residential property with 16 residents will make this worse. 2, over-concentration of non-residential properties. On a short, dead-end street with only 3 homes, surrounded by 3 institutions, this disproportionate concentration has altered the character of our neighborhood and continues to erode the residential nature of our community. 3, negative impact on property values. Group homes, regardless of their mission, carry a stigma that can negatively affect property values. loss of community control, number 4, and voice. Longtime residents deserve to be heard on changes that impact our neighborhood. We raised our families here. We invested emotionally, financially in this community. The lack of communication about this proposed sale is deeply disheartening. I feel if our voices and our commitment don't matter, but they do. As Oprah Winfrey once said, I see you, I hear you, and what you say matters. We, the residents of North Aiken, we matter. Our voices matter. Our investment matters. Our neighborhood matters. We respectfully urge you to reconsider the sale of this property and engage residents in a transparent and inclusive process moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Sister Roseanne Oberleitner, followed by Joseph Petrak. Sister, whenever you're ready.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Sister Roseanne Oberleitner. I'm a sister of St. Joseph of Baden. I want to speak to you today about Boys Hope, Girls Hope because I understand you have some reservations about our desire to build a home in your neighborhood. I'd like to start with a very quick history of Boys Hope. In 1977, Father Paul Sheridan, a Jesuit priest, began Boys Hope to provide a home, an education, and a future for disadvantaged boys in St. Louis. By 1980, there were programs in other cities like New York, Chicago, and Cleveland. One day, Father Paul was having lunch at our mother house with Sister Donna Marie Tahaney, who was on our leadership team at the time, and I, who was working with pregnant and parenting teens. In the course of the conversation, he made the comment, "This would be a great place for Boys Hope." Sister Donna and I looked at each other and said, "What about Girls Hope?" A needs assessment conducted in Allegheny and Beaver counties verified that there were many more programs for boys in the area than girls. So in 1991, our congregation opened the first Girls Hope program in the country on our Baden property. Over the years, we added a second Girls Hope home in Coriopolis and then a boys' home in Squirrel Hill. As you know, we are currently looking to expand again by building a new facility that will include both office space and program space so that staff can easily interface with the children in the program. I understand your reservations at having a facility in your neighborhood about which you have no prior knowledge. I want you to know that we take young boys and girls who are both academically capable and highly motivated. Due to the circumstances in which they have been born, a solid academic high school and higher education is practically unattainable. We create a family atmosphere within our homes. We are good neighbors. Our national programs have operated successfully for 48 years and our local program for 34 years. I am sure your own children are fortunate to have you as parents. I'm asking you to please open your hearts to the children in our care so that we can continue our mission to nurture and guide these motivated young people who are in need to become well-educated, career-ready men and women. Thank you so much for your time and blessings on your day.
Thank you. Next, we have Joseph Petrak, followed by Carla Robinson.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I'm Joseph Petrak. I am also with PW Campbell. I am the architect for Hope Ignites, or formerly known as Boys Hope, Girls Hope, and I'm speaking on behalf of this project. My primary reason for speaking is just to talk a little bit about the motivation for the design the way it stands today. And from the onset of this project, it was of utmost importance to the Boys Hope, Girls Hope team to make this building look and feel as though it fits into the fabric of the neighborhood, both in terms of materials, scale, building form, all of the ingredients that defines a neighborhood street. They were very much passionate about making sure that that was maintained. And I think that's what the way the building is massed is driven by that. We're using the same or similar proportions of the single family homes on the neighborhood to kind of give it that same look. We're using the same type of hip roof design. Materiality is the same. So all of which was again to be a good neighbor and to, you know, from at least from a an aesthetic and scale standpoint, fit in with the neighborhood. As a matter of fact, we at one point had the building a little bit taller, but still within the zoning rights, and the Boys Hope, Girls Hope team instructed us to look at ways in which to move some of the program into the basement so that we could reduce the scale and again be better neighbors. And one other thing I wanted to speak to is the, you know, the notification process that has been brought up. The very early on in the process, we met with zoning, and they laid out the series of neighborhood groups that we were instructed to meet with just to gain support, which the Boys Hope Girls team has done. Each time we met with one of the organizations, we were, you know, suggested to talk to another one, which we did. I know that the neighbors are unhappy about the length of time it took us to engage, but honestly, we followed the letter of the law. The way we move through zoning, you know, is, you know, again, may not be how they would like it, but we followed the direction that we were given by the jurisdiction that oversees this property. Again, I'm in full support of the project, and thank you for letting me speak. One other thing, if I could say, the Boys Hope Girls team, Allie and Jen and Linnell, they are now able to speak. I guess there was some technical issues, so they asked if you can circle back to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Carla Robinson, followed by Renee Robinson.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Carla Robinson, and I'm a lifelong resident of the Garfield neighborhood. I live just a few blocks away from the proposed site off of North Aiken Avenue. Tonight, I'm not just speaking as a neighbor, but I'm also speaking as a parent of a young scholar who has been a part of the Boys Hope, Girls Hope Pittsburgh program for the past 6 months. Let me be clear, this program has been a blessing. My son didn't get involved because he was headed down the wrong path. He joined because he was already doing well, and he needed the kind of support that would help him go even further. Boys Hope, Girls Hope is not a program for quote unquote bad kids. It's for the kids who are trying, who are focused, who need a little extra structure, guidance, and opportunity to achieve their full potential. In the past 6 months, I've seen real growth in my son. He's more driven, more organized, and more confident in himself and his future. That is the power of this program. It lifts up the youth and gives them tools they need to succeed. That's why I'm standing here to give my full support for the plan for the new Boys Hope, Girls Hope facility right here in Garfield. It isn't just about the new building. It's about investing in our youth, in our community, and in the future of the neighborhoods like ours. This new space will allow even more young people to benefit from the kind of guidance and opportunity my son is receiving right here in the community that we call home. As someone who lives nearby and has deep roots in this neighborhood, I know how much good this project can bring. It's not just good for the scholars, but it's good for Garfield. It's a message to our kids that they don't have to leave their neighborhoods to be successful. That hope and opportunity live right here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Renee Robinson, followed by Tiana Smith.
My name is Renee Robinson, and I am a long-term resident of Garfield. I'm writing to express my opposition to the proposed sale of the land in our Garfield community. This land is a valuable asset for our neighborhood, providing green space, recreational opportunities, and environmental benefits. Selling could lead to overdevelopment, increased traffic, and the loss of the character that makes our community special. When they started this project, they kind of started in the wrong way because they weren't really trying to win over the neighbors on the street. Before Carla spoke, we were never engaged. They never said how they would champion young people in the Garfield community. They brought a young person who was from Aliquippa. So from all the speakers today, it seems like everybody does not live in the city who we've heard speak so far, and that they have not really endorsed how they would help the young people in the Garfield community. If this is an indication of how the Boy Hope and Girls Hope program is supposed to be neighborly in the community, it just brings me some pause and some concern of the approach that they're not really prioritizing the already existing neighbors in the community. I urge the land bank and the decision makers to consider the long-term impacts to prioritize the well-being of current and future residents over short-term financial gains. We're asking for an inclusive and engaging process of this land that is makes a compromise for everybody and really adds an extra benefit. Thank you for your consideration. And I also would like to say that Stephanie Akers and Benita Harris would like to speak and that they weren't heard before.
Yes, thank you for that reminder, and we will definitely circle back. But next I have Tiana Smith. I don't see, followed by Raquib Bay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good afternoon. So my name is Tiana Smith. I'm a resident of in Bellevue, PA, and I have a unique perspective because I'm a former alumni of Girls Hope, Boys Hope, Hope Ignites. I'm so old, it has gone through so many iterations of names at this point. I got into the program when I was a 15-year-old ward of the state. I lived in the city of Pittsburgh where we were abused, neglected, me and my sisters. And thank God I got into contact with Sister Roseanne Leitner, who spoke earlier, and Sister Donna Tahaney, who literally I call my angels on earth because of those two women. They changed the trajectory of life I never thought was possible while living in the bubble of repeated abuse, neglect, and, living as a part of the state. When I was at 15 years old, I got admitted to Girls Hope of Pittsburgh. And at the time, you're separated from your families, you don't know, but at the same time, it's hope. Miss Monroe stated that stigma and of the group home and how it would have a negative connotation of the neighborhood. But look at it in the perspective of a child who never had a community. But when you get to Girls Hope, Boys Hope, you have that community. You have that partnership. At Girls Hope was the first time I experienced any kind of love, care, and compassion, right? It's the first time that someone sat down and helped me with my homework. It was the first time that I sat down and had a meal together as a family. It was the first time that I was able to engage in sports at Osh, Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. Hi, Sister Francine. She was my principal. These were the first things that most of your children in that beautiful neighborhood you currently live in got to have. But like youth like us that don't have those options or may not have all the options are experiencing for the first time. So to sit on this call and to hear people talk about inclusivity, but when they're really excluding children in need, how is that inclusive? My job as a senior policy analyst is to address these inclusivities, these areas where they aren't wanted, where children who are discarded of the system aren't wanted, and make them ways. And how can you make avenues? Girls Hope and programs similar are how you make these avenues and how you bridge these gaps and how you take children from environments that they are not aware of and make them their biggest dreams and desires. Because of Girls Hope, I'm the first one in my family to graduate high school without children. Because of Girls Hope, I'm the first one in my family to graduate La Roche University with a degree without children. Because of Girls Hope.
Thank you. Next is Raquib Bay, followed by Elena Brown. Oh, and sorry, City Channel, could you please bump Kirk Berkeley up to a panelist? Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Bay, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Rockweed Bay. I live in Homewood. I'm the executive director and founder of the Black Urban Gardeners and Farmers of Pittsburgh. We're here once again to advocate for Ebony Earth's. Sorry, my phone. We're here once again to advocate for Farm Girl Ab's farm. She is an urban farmer and food justice advocate. She is an educator who has helped and led to change the face of urban ag here in Pittsburgh with holistic program that expands beyond our bridges. Farm Girl Ag has brought together a diverse group of people to learn about growing food, to enjoy learning about growing food and food advocacy. This profound program on the north side is necessary for the continued growth of urban farming in our city. Food for the Soul Urban Farm in Manchester fits perfectly into Mrs. Burton Falk's strategic plan called Project 1965. In this plan, she says Route 65 disseminated Manchester and Project 1965 outcome will enable a community first agenda that includes environmental justice, green space, and healthy communities. Let's stick to that plan because this is what Food for the Soul Urban Farm in Manchester has been doing for the last 5 years. The dissemination of her farm is not in line with Project 1965 plan, and it looks disingenuous. Let's talk about conflicts of interest. She's on the zoning board, the president of the planning commission, and the executive director of MCC. She is also on the board for CCAC, where in her bio it states towards the end her experience with her position leads growth and greater development for the city of Pittsburgh. That's an oxymoron because there is no growth for the city of Pittsburgh by taking away this farm would help so many people. What it's actually going to do is take us back to Jim Crow era. That's what I have to say. And Renee Robinson, hi, I inbox you to help you out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spate. Next, we have Elena Brown, and then I'm going to circle back and call the speakers that we missed from the technical difficulties, starting with Stephanie Ackers. But at this moment, we will have Elena Brown.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can we hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. I am grateful to be here today. My name is Elena Brown, and I am here on behalf of Pittsburgh Food Policy Council to speak in strong support for the Food for the Soul Farm in Manchester and its founder, Ebony's application to purchase parcels through the Pittsburgh Land Bank. Food for the Soul Farm has already been in operation for 5 years, and it has become a vital third space for healing, learning, and connection within the Manchester community. This garden is deeply rooted and community-led effort that addresses food insecurity, wellness, and equity head-on. Ebony has done exactly what the land bank is meant to support. She took vacant, unproductive parcels and she transformed them into a thriving urban farm that grows fresh produce, hosts community workshops, and provides a safe space for youth and neighbors to gather. Her work is a clear example of land being returned to a beneficial, community-centered use. This aligns perfectly with the purpose that I've read outlined on the Pittsburgh Land Bank's website. Despite this, Ebony has faced ongoing and unnecessary delays and a lack of clarity around next steps. This experience reflects a process that is not equitable, transparent, or accessible. According to the second amended tri-party agreement between the city, the URA, and the Pittsburgh Land Bank, adopt-a-lot stewards like Ebony should be prioritized for land transfer, yet she remains in limbo. Ebony has already demonstrated the impact and commitment and stewardship this system is meant to uplift, yet it is working against her. I urge you to support the preservation of the Food for the Soul farm and finalize the transfer of this land so that her work and the community's work can continue to grow. I greatly appreciate you giving me this time to speak.
Thank you. I'm circling back to the top. Stephanie Ackers, have we been able to resolve the technical difficulties? Ms. Ackers, are you with us? Oh, whenever you're ready, if you're able to hit that unmute button. I wonder if we can get.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I am a resident. My name is Stephanie Akers, Akers. I'm a resident of the 632 North Aiken Avenue, directly adjacent to the property that has already been purchased and is scheduled for demolition and rebuild. And my concern reflects some of the concerns that have already been made about what I oppose to. My main concern right now is living direct. I'm a senior citizen. I have both chronic respiratory and cardiac problems. I would be concerned about the demolition, all of the debris that it would feed, how it would affect my health and safety, what it would do to my property value, the dirt that would be disseminated as a result of the construction. Is my building going to be protected from that? Is that going to be a part of the process? Is that going to be a part of the contract? Is there anything that I can do? I'm concerned about the infestation of rodents and wildlife and insects when all of this occurs. We are right on top of each other. The house next to me that Boys Hope, Girls Hope has already purchased, as well as my house. We walk out, we can bump into each other. I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about the traffic on the street. I'm not concerned about the children. I think that's a beautiful thing. However, I have children as well, a granddaughter and two lovely great-grandchildren, and they have a grandmother that they're concerned about as well. So I'm concerned about my health. I'm concerned about the health of the neighborhood when this is all going on. I feel like we have been neglected as a community, and this is not the first time. It happened the same way with the neighborhood academy. Things go on, and those that are directly affected by it are the last to know. And that is so disrespectful. So my concern reflects some of what Mrs. Monroe has said and other residents who've opposed the area. Yes, I think what you're doing for the children is a wonderful thing, but I'm also
Thank you, Ms. Akers. Next, we have Allie Brush, followed by Linnell Hale.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes?
Loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. My name is Allie Brush, and I am the executive director of Boys Hope Girls Hope. Sorry about the technical difficulties in the past, and sorry for any confusion. Our network organization is going through a name change, so you'll hear both Girls Hope, Boys Hope Girls Hope, and Hope Ignites. We are the same organization that's been operating successfully here, as Sister Roseanne mentioned, since 1991 in the Pittsburgh area. And you last heard from me back in March when this board unanimously approved the purchase of the property. So I don't want to, I know we submitted a very thorough application as well as supplementary materials with information about our organization. Just in light of the public commentary, I just wanted to make a couple comments. That we are a scholarship organization. We are very selective in the admissions process, working with scholars and families, ideally admitting children in middle school who we see a path forward to success through high school and through college graduation into adulthood. You heard from Tiana, who's one of our scholars, who was also a member of our board for many years. We have multiple board members who are alums of our organization. We have a really good track record of taking these kids who come from a place of need, different types of need, but that all have an academic path with the right set of support systems. We make a really deep impact on these people's lives. But one of the things that I think it's important to point out is we are, we're not a group home. We are not categorized as a group home. You can refer to us as a group home, but that's not what it is. We are a scholarship organization that offers a residential program with a family-like setting. And that means we're providing our scholars with tuition to our partner schools, 3 meals a day, a safe place to put your head down at night, tutoring, therapy, anything that you might provide to your own child in a loving home environment. And part of the import of that is making sure that the kids in our program are good citizens. And so that means being members of the community. We have a house in Squirrel Hill right now. In fact, one of our neighbors was trying to get on, but she was unable to join our next door neighbor in Squirrel Hill to talk about the great relationship she's built with the members of our household there and how our kids have become part of that community, how they shovel sidewalks in the winter. They take cookies to our neighbors. They volunteer in the community. And we would obviously be taking on this same role in the Garfield community, where we want our scholars to become men and women for others and to give back in the community. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that, we are not dealing with kids with mental or behavioral issues. That's part of the vetting we do for our admissions process. And we think that this could be the same reason that we understand the neighbors love this property is the reason that we love the neighborhood too. It's a perfect sleepy little cul-de-sac in the city. We like.
Thank you. Next, we have Linnell Hale, followed by Bonita Harris.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. Just so everyone knows, I'm Linnell Hale. I'm the current program director at Boys Hope, Girls Hope, now Hope Ignites Pittsburgh. And first of all, as a lifelong educator, it was such a wonderful opportunity to come across an organization such as Hope Ignites, who actually goes about doing things the right way. Whenever you're an educator, you see the good, the bad, the ugly, and the in between. And you come to learn that we spend a lot of time as educators pouring into many different children. And unfortunately, in that process, we spend so much time pouring into children who don't want to do the right thing. And when I personally came across this organization, it was absolutely refreshing to see someone finally going about it the right way. Not just educating kids, but building individuals who look at the world in such a way that they're willing and able to impact it beyond themselves and not just take their education and walk off and go to different places, but those who want to remain in their own communities and help uplift it. So, as an educator, as the current program director, I beg of you, please allow us to bring this to the community and to continue to do the work. that the Felician sisters enabled us to do here in Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Bonita Harris, followed by Jennifer Hyde.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes. Hi, my name is Benita Harris, and I'm a longtime resident at 622 North Aiken Avenue, right next to the lot that the land bank is trying to sell. I would like to put some pointers across. I love the organization, the Boys and Girls Hope. I've been there for over 50 years. That the land bank sold the property, was just decided to sell the property. No one even knew that the property was available for sale. Okay, so then they decided to sell it to this Boys and Girls Hope. For our community, I'm looking more for something like what Ebony's doing. Maybe bringing like a farm or something, like greenery or something around to the community like that. I love the Boys and Girls Hope program. I know what you guys' golden mission is, but not there on that congested street as where we live at. And there's 3 women that we're still there, and we've been there for over 50 years. Take us in consideration. Give us a farm. Give us something like that. Give us some greens or apples or oranges or something to go out and pick sometime. We have enough going on up there. And I would just like to see the land bank sell it to somebody like Ebony or something, an organization like that. And that's where I'm at with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jennifer Hyde, and then followed by Patrice Bolamape.
Hi, this is Jen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm going to try this again. My name is Jen Hyde. I live in the Observatory Hill neighborhood of the city. And I'm the director of operations at Boys Hope Girls Hope of Pittsburgh. I've been with the organization for 19 years, so I think I can bring a little bit of a historical perspective. Prior to coming to Boys Hope Girls Hope, I worked in a treatment facility where our job was to stabilize them and have them step down to a less restrictive setting. So our average length of stay was just 8. They had significant behavior and mental health issues. So when I came to Boys Hope Girls Hope, it was almost culture shock for me because it was just such a different group of young people. They were there voluntarily. They wanted something more for themselves. The parents wanted more for their children. We partner with the families, to just have the best possible outcome for their child. And my first 15 years with the organization, I was the program director. So the position that Linnell had just talked about. So I worked directly with the kids, the staff, and the families. And what I could say is because I have been there so long, I have watched these kids grow up. We have had our scholars come back and work as frontline staff in our facilities and take the values and things that they learned and were able to pass it on. We have had a number of our scholars come back and be official mentors to our kids. As Allie and Tiana said, on our board of directors. For me, I knew them when they were little kids, and now they're on our board. It is just the coolest thing ever. And now we have one of our alumni working in my office, and I'm proud to call her my colleague. It's just to be able to see, like when I was at that RTF, that treatment facility, if I ever see those, young people, they're on the news, not doing good things, but to be able to have, to see the growth in these young people when the light bulb goes on and they get it, or they get a good grade on a test. It's just the greatest feeling in the world. And then to have them be successful people in their community. It's been a blessing for me and a privilege to be part of the organization for 19 years. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Next is Patrice Bolamape, followed by Letitia Branch-Knowles.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Patrice Bolamape. I'm the executive director and co-founder of Mystic Mama's nonprofit organization. We're located in Allentown on the south side. I'm speaking today in support of Ebony Evans being able to purchase the land to be able to continue what she started there for the Food for the Soul Community Garden. I was there the first day that they started, and just watching all that has happened over the past 5 years and just seeing how much growth has happened in that community. I consider Ebony to be a developer, and she's developed that community in the right way. She took those abandoned lots and the Adopt a Lot program and actually did what was needed in that area. And I feel like to take something like that away from the community that is already food insecure, to be nice about it, to put up quote unquote affordable housing where the people in the community cannot afford that would be a huge injustice. And it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm here again just to speak on behalf of that and hope that everyone does the right thing, because that's actually what it would be doing. Anything else would just be an injustice. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next is Letitia Branch-Knowles, followed by Sarah Baranskas.
Hello, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. My name is Letitia Branch-Knowles. I am over in the Sheridan area, Pittsburgh, but I am a board member of Out at the End organization. I thank you for hearing me out. I'm writing in strong support of the Food for the Soul Community Farm and Farmer Girls Add continuing efforts to purchase the land located at 1707 Fulton Street, Pittsburgh, PA 15233. As someone who has witnessed firsthand the growth, purpose, and heart behind the mission, I believe it is imperative that the farm be secured and preserved for generations to come. I am proud to say that I am best friends with former Girl Ebony Evans. I have known her for years and have had the privilege of walking alongside her as she poured her heart, energy, and vision into the mission. Her passion for food justice, community empowerment, and youth development is unmatched. I know her dedication, her perseverance, and her unwavering commitment to doing the right thing even when it is hard. Under Ebony's leadership, the Food for the Soul Community Farm has become more than just a green space. It is a hub of healing, learning, and empowerment. The farm's mission is to nourish bodies, cultivate minds, and grow community by providing access to fresh food, agricultural education, and a safe space for individuals and families. One of the most impactful aspects of this farm is its direct role in combating food insecurity. In neighborhoods where access to fresh and affordable fruits and vegetables is limited, this farm has become a reliable and consistent source of nourishment. Families are able to receive free produce grown right in their community, and people of all ages and backgrounds are taught how to grow their own food, a life skill that empowers them well beyond the farm. Through food distribution, cooking education, and sustainable efforts, the farm meets an urgent need with dignity and love. I fully acknowledge the affordable housing is a pressing concern in Pittsburgh. However, this particular site has already been transformed into a space that meets an equal critical need: healthy food access, education, and a safe green space. In its current use, the farm already serves those in need by directly addressing food insecurity, empowering local youth, and fostering community well-being in connection. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. This is a season for purpose. It is time to preserve and protect what has already taken root and is bearing fruit in a powerful way. Therefore, I respectfully urge the Pittsburgh Land Bank, the Urban Redevelopment Authority, and the City of Pittsburgh to convey this site to Ebony Evans and the Food for the Soul Community Farm. With your support, she can continue to sow seeds of hope, healing, and nourishment for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Sarah Baranskas, followed by Abdul Kahir Chirambo.
Hi, all. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Hi, my name is Sarah Baranskas. I live in Stanton Heights, and I work for the Pittsburgh Food Policy Council. And I started volunteering with the Food for the Soul Community Farm back in 2022. I'm speaking in support of Ebony Ludsford Evans' application to purchase parcels through the Pittsburgh Land Bank. So for a little more than 10 years, the PFPC has worked with advocates across the city to ensure adequate funding, support, resources, and space for urban agriculture. And in recent years, we've worked to specifically address the partnership between the city, the URA, and the Pittsburgh Land Bank as it relates to urban agriculture, as the tri-party agreement was realized for these entities. We've consistently highlighted the challenges that all urban growers face transitioning to ownership from leasing programs like Adopt-A-Lot, and have asked for urban agriculture to be a priority use for land in the city. In looking at the stated purpose of the PLB piece by piece, it says the Pittsburgh Land Bank returns unproductive real property to beneficial reuse. And I just wanted to note that this has really already been achieved by Ebony for the parcels in question. She took vacant, unproductive land and made food grow, feeding our neighbors and creating community. The next part about an equitable, transparent public process, I did just want to briefly note, following along and supporting in this process, that this process could be improved on. I think an equitable and transparent process would be objective, clearly identify steps for how to proceed when challenges arise, would be able to clearly explain why some land is immediately approved, some isn't, and then would have publicly available information about why and how these decisions are made. Then lastly, I see revitalizing neighborhoods to strengthen the city's tax base and support socially and economically diverse communities. And again, Eb has done this work, and the last step is just to formally transfer the property, which I am thrilled to see as a resolution on this agenda. The very last thing I just wanted to say, in the tri-party agreement, it specifically states for Adopt-A-Lot, any Pittsburgh Adopt-A-Lot current as of this enactment date of that is transferred to the PLB will be disposed to the current leaseholder. So our hope is that in future requests for purchase from Adopt-A-Lot participants are held to this commitment. Just to reiterate, I'm here to ask that the Pittsburgh Land Bank convey the requested parcels to Ebony Lunsford Evans so that the community that has sustained the Food for the Soul community farm can continue to benefit from it.
Thank you. Next is Abdul Kahir Tarambo, followed by Dawn Marie Klepper Hall. Abdul Kahir. Okay, so next is Dawn Marie Klepper Hall.
Good afternoon. My name is Dawn Marie Klepper Hall, and I'm the Director of Community Food Access at Just Harvest, as well as a member of the board of the Pittsburgh Food Policy Council. On behalf of Just Harvest, I'm commenting today in support of Resolutions 36 and 37, which would convey a collective total of 6 lots from the URA to the Land Bank and then to Out of the End Incorporated and Farmer Girl Ebb. These far from vacant properties make up Food for the Soul Community Farm, a thriving space that has been a source of education, connection, and fresh food in the Manchester neighborhood for 5 years now. This farm has been lovingly tended by Farmer Girl Ebb and by many members of the community, from toddlers to elders, who gather together to grow food for themselves and for their neighbors in need. We know at Just Harvest that the Land Bank, as part of the tri-party agreement, has promised to prioritize existing Adopt-A-Lot leaseholders over developers. We also know that you've supported similar projects before, including the preservation of the Hillcrest Urban Farm in the East End, because Land Bank board members, like many others in the city of Pittsburgh, recognize the value of urban farms and the importance of a strong, resilient, and local food system. Our hope is that you will continue to recognize that value here, as well as recognizing that development of a thriving community goes beyond just housing, which is often a tool used to bring new people into a community, and should also include uplifting and celebrating the work that existing residents are doing to improve their neighborhoods, as you've committed to doing in writing via the tri-party agreement, and as is the stated purpose of the Land Bank. We hope that you'll honor those commitments today. Thank you for your time.
Next is Tiara Collins, followed by Hildy Johnson. Tiara Collins. Okay, next we'll go to Hildy Johnson. Let's see if Johnson is. Next we have, is it T.I. Santa Jones? Ty Santa, thank you. Ty Santa Jones, Dr. Ty Santa Jones.
Hello, everyone. My name is Titania Jones. I currently live in Belmar Garden, but my family has been invested in the Manchester community for the last 3 generations. And though I live on the east side, my heart is in 15233 forever. And I carry the legacy of Manchester through my stewardship at the A Street Garden, as my mother started that garden 30 years ago. I'm here in support of Farm Girl Ebb and the Food for the Soul farm. Being sold for her, this farm has filled a void that many Black communities across the city are dealing with: food insecurity, lack of access to quality food, lack of access to produce. And since Ebony has taken over this space. She is doing the work. She has engaged young people, seniors, and all community members to be a part of her space to make sure they can grow for themselves and grow for the community. People's needs are being met through this farm. And it just feels completely disingenuous for us to have programs like Adopt a Lot so that we can say, okay, neighbors, people, take advantage, make your community better, meet the needs of your community, and someone actually does it and does an amazing job at it. She has jumped into the cultural community in the city doing urban farming and learning about grant making and teaching others along the way. And it just feels so unright to not think that we're supposed to follow the rules that are in place. She has done an amazing job at turning that space as been forever into something that is a vital, that's meeting a vital need in our community and not allowing that to move forward for her to purchase that land doesn't feel right. And secondly, I was also told that she was offered other land, and to come back and find out that was untrue just hurts my heart. Because something is wrong in the lack of transparency, and the other group of people are talking about the lack of transparency of the home being built in their community. We're not being told. Community members are not being told what's happening, and there's a disconnect between decisions being made and decision makers in the communities in which they say they're making decisions for. And I just really want to stand here in support of Farm Girl Ed and making sure that the Food for the Soul farm stays in Manchester and continues to feed the needs and provide opportunities for the people of Manchester. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Allison Keating, followed by Ebony Lunsford Evans. Let's make sure Allison is here. Yes. All right, Allison, whenever you're ready.
Unmute. Hey, how you guys doing? So my name is Allison Keating. I live in Manchester. I do not have a direct stake. I do not have a direct stake in this issue at all. I don't even know Ebony at all. I've never met her. Yeah, so I want to talk about why this is such a complex thing is that like this is the city's property. So we get to have this say in it, which is cool. If this was someone buying private property and turning it into a garden, like that would be dope and like people would love that. Um, so the issue is that uh people most people that I've spoken to basically want both things to happen here. Like people, the folks I know who have engaged with the garden love it. Like absolutely, I would say, absolutely, like sell it, market, it looks like it's being sold for a market price. That's great. That's perfect. But the longer term concern that people hold is that we don't want to see it turn into vacant land in the future. You know, we all know that gardens end all the time. We all know that nonprofits end all the time. So if there is some sort of mechanism that can be utilized here that can make sure that when the garden comes to an end, that it can then be turned into housing. Either the nonprofit can do that itself, the nonprofit can sell it to be developed, or the city can have a chance to take the land back and do something with it. So that is like, the most objective thing that I can tell you about this, because I again, I've not spoken to these folks, but that is what I've heard in speaking to people who have been affiliated and have engaged. I think that there is a way to do both things, and I hope that the board finds that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ebony Lunsford Evans, followed by Janet Simpson. Ebony, the floor is yours.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me.
And I just want to just take this time to just thank you all just for being here and listening to all of this. This has just been an overwhelming time for me. But I just wanted just to take some time to tell you why this was started. Well, I've always been in Manchester since I was a little girl. I've been in that community, lots of friends and family. So I've always been connected to Manchester. But back in the 90s, whenever I was a teenager and young girl, Manchester was full of crime and a lot of drug abuse, and a lot was going on in the community. But I still felt I just still hung in the community. But at some point in the late 90s, a fight had broke out right by where the garden is. And then shortly thereafter, gunshots rang out and scared my life. And I ran along with my cousin all the way from the site where the garden is now, all the way to the highway, and walked all the way out of that community and was petrified. Throughout the years, as time went on, I learned about the change in Manchester. I still frequented the community, but just not that particular area because I just was very afraid of what was going on in that area. And so, but then I heard over the years, that Manchester had been changing and gentrification and everything as the North Shore was developing. In 2020, when I was frequenting the neighborhood and called by a community member to ask to start this garden, I was a little bit reluctant. But then when I went in the space and saw how nice and beautiful and changed it was, I was excited. And then we started the garden. I did everything that I needed to do. The Adopt a Lot program was amazing to start the garden. But as we started there, I met the new Manchester and the old Manchester. And what I saw was a lot of friction at first going on because old Manchester wanted to know why new Manchester was there. But then I saw new Manchester begin to explain and talk and be open about what was their reasons of coming into that community. And I saw such community being built there. It became more than just a garden. I saw friends, I saw families, I saw so many people coming in this space and loving on one another and learning how to grow food. It has been that ever since. Since then, we have grown over 12,000 pounds of food. We have given it away to free to the community, organizations all over. It has been amazing. People come, they enjoy, they sit. There's Bible study that goes on. It is more than just a garden. It is amazing. We don't plan to go nowhere. I can understand the reluctance of thinking that a garden come and go, but this garden is not designed to come and go. We are there to stay. We want to be a permanent figure in the community to provide access to fresh food here and out and ongoing. The people of Manchester deserve to eat from that soil. That is how we decrease the social determinants of health. We decrease diabetes, cancer, and all the other health disparities that we face in community.
Thank you. Next, we have Janet Simpson, followed by Brenda Simpson.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Janet Simpson, and I am in with Ebony Evans and the Food for the Soul Farm. I grew up in Manchester as a little girl, and I never seen any of this in our community at that time. Here now we have the opportunity to teach our children. You grow from a seed, and we plant seeds, and we are planting a seed for our children to learn how to grow their fruits and vegetables, how to eat clean living, how to be socially active in your community. This is what brings and builds community together. Ebony's Farm has done that. She has brought old, new, young, and old people together in love through growing vegetables and teaching us how to grow vegetables, educating us on the soil. All of these things is good for the community. It's always, if you can grow it, you can eat it. And all I'm saying is, let soul for the food farm stay. Community needs it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Brenda Simpson. Brenda. And then following will be Mahogany Thaxton.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Brenda Simpson, and I'm a resident of Manchester. I'm also representing the Dream Team of 15233 Food for the Soul, representing the team members who have been there at the garden for the past 5 years. They're all employed now, they're working, I'm retired at 70 years old, and I go to the farm and we till the land, we plant, we weed. Those who have jobs, they still make an attempt to come out for the last 5 years and do the work there. That farm was started from nothing. It was just an empty lot. And we took the time and nourished it, loved it, took care of it, planted year after year, watered it, and it has become a valuable spot in Manchester. We not only feed the Manchester, we feed anyone who comes. Right across from it is the Manchester Field, where a lot of softball games are played from all over the city. And those people even come over and they see what we have done there. They'll volunteer, they reap what we sow. So yes, it's valuable in our community. We don't need not only grow vegetables, people grow there. We grow a community. The young people, they come in and they learn through the teachings of Farm Girl Ebb what it is to not just play in the dirt. Excuse me, as the young lady of 6 years old told us, it's not dirt, it's soil. So we know right there that they are learning and they are paying attention. Uh, Contrary to what was said about 3 other lots being available for us to move, that's totally false. And if there is 3 other lots, then why can't those lots be utilized? Why would you uproot something that has already been established? The ground is producing. It has been loved on. It has been watered. Everything it takes to produce over 12,000 pounds of food to anybody who wants it. The women from the Light of Life, the men from the Salvation Army, they all come. This has been incorporated in their healing and their living. So I just ask that the land bank would consider that what we do as Farm Girl Ab. This is not a personal thing for her, a personal game. This is the love of a community and to teach healthy living, a healthy lifestyle. I would say, please consider letting us have this because we would love to be there for the long run. We don't see any reason not to be there. It grows year after year. And you should come down and see it for yourself what it's about.
Thank you. So now we have Mahogany Thaxton, followed by Dora Wamsley.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. My name is Mahogany Thaxton. I am calling in support of Farmer Girl Ebb and her application to maintain and keep the Food for the Soul community farm. I'm calling it as an individual, but I'm also calling as a fellow farmer. I work at Garfield Community Farm, and as a fellow place-based small farm that provides direct support and education to our community members, I know the value of what Ebony is doing. I also know the long time that it takes to do that. And as others have mentioned, uprooting this farm, the partnerships that she's developed, the soil that she's developed, the community that she's developed, doesn't make sense. The community wants her there. The community needs her there. And what she provides goes far beyond the thousands of pounds of produce that she's able to produce. It's teaching a skill. It is providing a gathering space. It is massaging any sort of health needs that folks may have, both physical as well as mental. We all know the benefit of having not just a green space, but a space to connect, a space to learn together, a space to be, and a space to that really exemplifies neighborhood resiliency, what we need to support each other, what we need to build together. I think Patrice mentioned that Farmer Girl Ebb is a developer, and I really want y'all to hear that and listen to that. I know that sometimes and housing is important. Let me be very clear about that. But as others have mentioned, you shouldn't just uproot a farm. Housing can be built in other places. And why disrupt something that is already occurring, something that is good, and something that is healing? We also know food insecurity is a major issue. And it also, that the solution to that also doesn't happen overnight. I think allowing Farmer Girl Ebb to purchase these parcels and continue the important work that she's doing is a dedication and investment to helping the people of Pittsburgh eat and helping the people of Pittsburgh learn to grow their own food, in particular, the folks in Manchester. So I'm in full support of her being able to purchase this land. I think it aligns with the Pittsburgh Land Bank's stated goals. And I hope that you all hear the real community support that she has here today. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Next, we have Dora Walmsley, followed by Ryan Walsh.
Good afternoon. My name is Dora Walmsley, and I'm here today as the Director of Community Projects for Grow Pittsburgh, speaking in strong support of Ebony's application to acquire subject parcels through the Pittsburgh Land Bank. This site, as we know, is home to Food for the Soul Community Farm, which has been in operation since 2021. In 2020, Ebony applied to Grow Pittsburgh's New Garden program, which is a 2-year initiative that provides material resources and technical assistance to help establish community food gardens in neighborhoods impacted by food apartheid and systemic disinvestment. Grow Pittsburgh has supported this work for nearly 2 decades. Out of all of the gardens we've helped launch, only 2 are no longer in operation. That success is rooted in our core belief that urban agriculture is not a temporary fix. It is a vital long-term part of our city's food security infrastructure. To be accepted into the New Garden program, applicants must meet strict criteria. They must demonstrate strong community support, include a committed volunteer base, and secure approval from the landowner for at least 5 years of agricultural use. In Ebony's case, all these boxes were checked. She received letters of support from Councilman Lavelle and the Manchester Citizen Corporation, and she entered into a formal agreement with the city through the Adopt a Lot program, a program this board should be familiar with. At no point during our partnership was there any indication that the site was slated for future development. Had that been the case, we would not have invested considerable time and resources into establishing this site as a long-term community asset. In addition to programs like New Garden, Grow Pittsburgh also works at the policy level to advocate for equitable land access. We held the first Urban Ag Symposium in 2013, helped draft the Urban Ag Zoning Code revisions in 2018, and worked with the City Council and many others to establish the Food Justice Fund. Much of this advocacy is focused on land access, including the short-term nature of adopt-a-lot licenses and the high cost, financial and social, of building agriculture sites that can be taken away without notice. That's why urban ag stakeholders helped push for an amendment to the Land Bank's Tri-Party Agreement, specifically Section 18, which states, any Pittsburgh adopt-a-lot current as of this enactment of this agreement that is transferred to the PLB will be disposed to the current leaseholder. We believe this would provide long overdue protection for stewards like Ebony. Unfortunately, when Food for the Soul applied for the trolley program, a joint venture between Grow Pittsburgh and Allegheny Land Trust to permanently protect food growing spaces, we encountered unexpected resistance despite what we understood to be a clear legal pathway under Section 18. So today, I'm here to reaffirm our full support for Ebony's land bank application. Her work is not speculative. It is intentional, impactful, and deeply rooted in community. She's a social entrepreneur with a proven track record, and her farm provides real value to the Pittsburgh food system. I urge the land bank to convey these parcels to Ebony Lunsford Evans so that Food for the Soul Community Farm can continue to grow securely and sustainably for years to come. Thank you for the time and consideration.
Thank you. We have 2 registered speakers left, so if there's anyone in the waiting room who would like to speak, please raise your hand. We have the last 2 registered speakers are Ryan Walsh, followed by Michaela Scheckler. Ryan?
Yeah, hi. So my name is Ryan Walsh. I live in North Point Breeze, and I work at Grow Pittsburgh as the Director of Development and Communications. Yeah, the struggle to determine who legitimately represents people's voices in Manchester has been well documented by Public Source earlier this year. Manchester Neighbors is now an officially registered community organization for the neighborhood and supports the Food for the Soul community farm. We've heard many voices here today in support, but this is not only a grassroots effort. I'm here to share Grow Pittsburgh's support for Ebony Lunsford Evans' application to acquire these parcels through the land bank, and to speak to the strong institutional support that has helped establish this farm and help it grow over the years. So through Grow Pittsburgh, Duquesne Light Company, Colcom Foundation, and the Richard King Mellon Foundation have directly invested more than $50,000, as well as volunteer days in the case of Duquesne Light, to get this garden started and sustained. That total includes $30,000 in supplies and materials like deer and groundhog fencing, raised beds, soil, compost, seeds, plants, tools, and more than $20,000 in Grow Pittsburgh staff time and technical assistance to get the garden started in its first 2 years. Not to mention all the sweat equity Ebony and the neighbors have put in themselves. Now, I'm not sure whether representatives from any of these funders were able to register to comment today, but they've been informed of how their investment is in jeopardy, and they continue to fund our efforts to protect sites like this from development. That this farm is now a thriving community asset and source of free, fresh food for the neighbors should be cause for celebration. Instead, it's been a struggle to keep the farm from being shut down in the middle of the growing season. According to the city planning website, the ultimate goal of Adopt a Lot is to transfer the ownership from the city to the tenant after the 3-year lease, but here we are. Despite this stated goal and the Section 18 of the Land Bank's the Tri-Party Agreement, there doesn't actually seem to be a clear legal pathway to ownership, and we hope that you'll honor your commitments. If the lease was never intended to be extended beyond this year, why was this not made clear with the gardeners or other stakeholders? Ebony, Grow Pittsburgh, and our funders are not in the business of investing tens of thousands of dollars and years of sweat equity into projects that are slated to be displaced or demolished after a short time. So I urge the land bank to convey these parcels to Ebony so that Food for the Soul Community Farm can continue its beautiful work of feeding people and helping neighbors connect to the earth and to each other for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Michaela Scheckler. Michaela, are you with us? M-I-K, yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. My name is Michaela Scheckler, and I am here on behalf of Uptown Partners of Pittsburgh to raise serious concern regarding the Pittsburgh Land Bank's handling of parcels located at 2 and 3 Seneca Street, properties our organization has been actively working to acquire for multiple years. Our executive director, Dr. Brittany McDonald, and myself have made repeated inquiries, conducted site visits, and engaged community stakeholders around the future of these blighted and unsecured structures. We have followed every required step in good faith under the impression that the land bank's purpose is to support equitable redevelopment driven by and for our communities, not to quietly facilitate deals with private developers behind closed doors. We learned just this week that the land bank is now moving forward with the Epic Development, a private developer, on these very parcels we've been trying to acquire, without any communication to us. Despite our extensive history of engagement around this site, this raises serious red flags about the transparency and integrity of the disposition process. To be clear, Uptown Partners has been working to acquire 2 and 3 Seneca Street for several years. These properties are in dangerous disrepair, open to the elements, and urgently need attention. And our interest has always been rooted in serving the long-term needs of the Uptown community, not for private profit. We find it very unacceptable that our years of work and outreach could be so easily sidelined in favor of last-minute private development interest. And if the land bank is indeed committed to community-centered development, I urge you to pause all movement on these parcels. We deserve transparency and answers, and Uptown Partners deserves the opportunity to acquire these properties and see through the work that we've already started. So thank you for your time and your consideration, guys.
Next, we have Michael McAllister, followed by Juanita Hutchinson. Michael, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Appreciate it, and looking forward to sharing our vision for 2 and 3 Seneca. My name is Michael McAllister. I'm the principal at Epic Development, both a resident of Uptown for more than 10 years, as well as focusing all of our work in the Uptown area. To date, we've delivered more than $18 million of investment in Uptown and have been doing so in hand with Uptown partners. We've actually been looking at these properties with Uptown Partners as the development partner, predating the current land bank agreements with Uptown Partners to bring these resources back to an active tax roll and part of the neighborhood. Currently, these homes are blighted and problematic. The street currently only has 2 homes that are currently occupied. We're excited at the prospect of being able to bring more than 2 more homes to that and doubling the population on Seneca Street and really serving to add the vitality that we need to further development along that corridor, which is seeing 51 new market or affordable units being developed around the corner. And we are excited to see 2 new homeowners be able to complement that property with this new development. So we appreciate the time and thank you much.
Thank you. Next, I have Juanita Hutchinson, followed by, who's their hand up? Okay, and please raise your hand if you would like to speak after Juanita.
Well, can everybody hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Juanita Hutchinson. I'm calling because I actually own a blighted property. And in the beginning of my search to find a resolution on what to do, because I was actually given this property unknowingly by my deceased mother, and now it's in kind of a blighted state. And I just want to give a little bit of insight because I know there's a lot of properties within Pittsburgh that are going through the same thing and no one really knows where to start with that or how to do it. So I just want to kind of give a kind of like a shout out to the land banks just because I've been dealing with this for almost a year and a half, and this is the first time that I was able to get an actual breakthrough through the land banks to see if they can help me in regards to this. So I'm just really hoping that this is the program that is going to be effective in Pittsburgh because I know a lot of homeowners are dealing with the same issue that I am dealing with, and a lot of us don't know where to start and don't know what to do. And we were given these properties unknowingly or either knowingly, and we don't know what to do with them. So I just thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you, Juanita. Next, I have Professor Dennis McManus. Apologies. I know Dennis registered to speak. Dennis, whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'd like to add my support for the efforts to convey the property that she's been using for so many years now for the Food for the Soul Community Farm. And I guess the main thing I'd like to emphasize is that, and I think the land banks recognize this in the past, that urban farms and gardens can be a highest and best use. And I think that we're dealing and talking today about a prime example of how that can be. A couple of weeks ago, I viewed a hearing of City Council, actually public comment period, where there were more than 24 people driving home the message or the messages that you've heard again here today about the value and benefits of this particular urban farm. And more than 24 people testified in support of it. Today, we've heard another dozen or more folks saying the same thing. What I haven't heard is anyone testify either before council or certainly today saying, why not approve these 2 resolutions? Why not make certain that this farm that is of such great importance to the community and that has proven its value, certainly in terms of food access and food production, in terms of social cohesion, in terms of engaging citizens, in terms of educating youth, its environmental benefits. I've heard probably not only from dozens of people, but dozens of reasons why the land bank ought to convey this property for this purpose. And so I guess the only thing I would want to add to it, in doing some reading about this issue, is to close by quoting from a study that was done by the Furman Center for Real Estate and Urban Policy at New York University, and their conclusion was, quote, "We find the community gardens have, on average, significant positive effects on surrounding property values. These findings should help local governments make sounder decisions about whether and how much to invest in or to encourage private investment in community gardens and other green spaces." And so I would encourage the Land Bank Board to approve the two resolutions before you today that would make continuation of this important community asset possible. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dennis. We have one final speaker, and that is Chief Pomage.
Couldn't find my mic. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. I just have a few things that I would like to add to the richness of what everyone else has said already. So, Inlakek Alakaim, that means the light in me honors the light in you. My title is Pomai Chokmam Yahalahi, Chief of Medicine, Land Management, and Stewardship for the Aboriginal American nations and peoples. And I'm here today to speak in wholehearted support of Farmer Girl Ebb and her request to acquire the land in Manchester through the Pittsburgh Land Bank process. I speak from the perspective of an Aborigine American grounded in ancestral responsibility and as an advocate for environmental justice, climate action, and community healing. Before this land was divided, sold, or paved over, it was cared for by our peoples. As Aborigine Americans, our relationship with this land is not transactional, it is sacred. The land remembers. It remembers stewardship rooted in reciprocity, in mutual care, and in deep respect for life in all forms. And today, Farmer Girl Ebb stands in that same tradition with food for the soul. And I would add, of the people. One of honorable land use, healing, cultivation, and climate conscious growing. Urban agriculture is not just about growing food. It is a frontline solution to the climate crisis. It mitigates the urban heat island effect, restores damaged soil, sequesters carbon, and reduces reliance on long-distance fossil fuel food systems. But most importantly, it brings health, resilience, and economic justice to communities long denied access to clean air, green space, and fresh food. Manchester is one such community, rich in culture and strength, yet historically underserved and overburdened by environmental neglect and disinvestment when it comes to urban ag and food, climate, and air and environmental justice. When you empower a local leader like Farmer Girl App to steward this land, you're not only simply giving her a plot, you are helping see the climate solution right here in Pittsburgh. Her urban farm will be a place where children can learn to plant, elders can gather, and families can access chemical-free, culturally relevant food. It is climate action with a human face. It is an environmental justice that grows from the ground up. The Pittsburgh Land Bank was created to return land to community benefit. What higher benefit is there than healing our neighborhoods, feeding our people, preparing our city to be climate resilient? I asked you today not just to approve a land request, but to recognize a sacred opportunity. Let Farmer Girl Ebb continue her work as an urban grower, healer, and steward. Let us honor the original principles of this land to sustain, to shelter, and to share. Thank you.
Thank you. That exhausts our list of public speakers. Back to you, Chair.
Hey, thank you. And thank you to all the speakers. We're going to move to action items, where we have 13 action items. That means we'll cover the chairman's report, the treasurer's report at the following those action items. And for action items, we have 13, like I mentioned. These are the URA. First, we have a selection of URA-owned properties resolutions authorizing the acquisition of property from the URA by the land bank for conveyance to an end user. For resolution number 36, Director Stadelman.
I'll read this into the record. Resolution number 36, your acquisition and sale of parcels along Fulton Street. Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire block 22K, lots 66 and 6902 on Fulton Street in the 21st Ward from the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh, pending authorization from the Board of the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh, using ARPA funds in an amount not to exceed $15,000. Further authorization to convert the same properties to Out of the End Inc., a nonprofit associated with Ebony Lunsford Edmonds, for $15,000.
Their motion?
Tammy Thompson, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
Thank you. So a couple things. One, I would ask for members not to support this today. One, I believe normally the URA would take action first, then the land bank would take action. And so one, I believe that should be the normal way in which this occurs. Two, I just want to address some of the comments that I heard. It was sort of mentioned that why won't the land bank follow the rules? We actually are. What all the commenters never stated was that, yes, when Ms. Evans took over this through the Adopted Lot program, it was clearly stated that this was a temporary lease of this land. And the reason for that was because housing was always supposed to go on this site. Unfortunately, COVID-19 hit. That had to pause. It made all the sense in the world for Ms. Evans to begin farming on this land. But it was clearly stated that this was a temporary purpose. I first spoke with Ms. Evans about this approximately a year ago in Councilwoman Smith's office. When I had this conversation with her, what Councilwoman Smith said to me was, well, would you be willing to find her other land in Manchester to continue farming? And I said, absolutely. Ms. Evans' position at that time was I don't want to move. And I can certainly understand that because of the sweat and equity that was put into it. One of the speakers spoke about the funding that they had poured into it. So I understand the perspective, but the reality is there was always another intended use for this site. And this not to say that we don't value Ms. Evans and her farming. This land bank board has taken action previously to support her. The URA board has taken action previously to support her in grant funding and other ways. So we clearly value the work she does. However, the various stakeholders have sort of dug their heels in the sand and taken their positions. And she herself said, well, I'm not going anywhere. That's okay, but the rules state that actually this land is now to be used for something else. With that being said, what I would like, and this is you all taking, I guess, a leap of faith on my abilities, is that I would like to be able to convene all stakeholders, Ms. Evans, the potential housing development, to really have a conversation about can the two coexist? Can the two actually be on this site at the same time? Is there a way to design housing that also incorporates a garden? And I think there probably is a way to be able to do that. And so that all parties are being able to get what they need. That one, we're able to achieve the goals of the Manchester Plan, which has been formally adopted by the city, which states that this site is for housing. But two, also achieves the goals and objectives of all those who spoke very passionately on her behalf about the good that this farm does do. And I acknowledge that it does a world of good. So I would ask that we not motion. Well, we've already made the motion, but I would ask that we not vote to approve taking this on today, but rather we vote it down so that more conversations can be had about how two things can coexist at one time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, I would certainly support Councilman Lavelle's request here. I'm not sure exactly how I would go about doing that, but I have a lot of faith in him that his leap of faith would be successful. And I think it is important for us to gain a little bit more information and see what he can do here. So I would certainly support that. And I'll wait for the chair's guidance on procedural mechanisms and the rest of the board's decision on how they would want to move forward.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to go on the record. I feel very strongly about maintaining the motion and moving this forward. It's kind of embarrassing that Miss Evans and her supporters and the volunteers on this farm have had to do so much to convince people that this is the right thing to do. Um, they're getting beyond, it's getting very close to the date of the end of the lease. I don't think it's fair to leave this in limbo, knowing that the lease is due to terminate. And I think we need to make a decision to move forward.
Thank you. Councilman Mosley, you were asking for interrogatory, sure.
Interrogatory for
Yeah.
Council President. I hear your request. I was just curious and obviously this is somewhat of an open-ended question, but how much time do you think you would need to pull together the stakeholders, have that conversation to find if there is a compromise or a way that, both concepts can coexist on that parcel?
I'm willing to move as expeditiously as possible, Councilman. To be honest, various parties have not necessarily wanted to meet previously, but I'm willing to move as expeditiously as possible. Assuming we do not move on this today, I'm willing to call all parties this afternoon to try to convene a meeting to talk about how this can move forward.
And then the reason why I asked, I was just curious to see if it'd be more maybe appropriate to do a month hold and reconvene at the next month's meeting as opposed to voting it down.
Sure, we can certainly do that.
Get an interrogatory, Council President. Would 1 month be sufficient? Because I mean, as our colleague Director Thompson mentioned that, I know that there's a specific timeline, and this not being in my district, I'm not exactly sure when the timeline sunsets on the current lease.
My understanding is July.
So the time is truly of the essence.
Well, I will say that regardless of the vote today, it takes us 3 to 4 months to acquire something from the city. So in any case, regardless of the vote, that will have to be addressed, the ending of the lease in July by the city.
So given that, Sally, for me, this is probably at least a 2 month long conversation of working through the various dynamics at stake here. So if we want to hold, I would ask for a 2 month hold. To Ms. Thompson's point, I can appreciate her wanting to move this forward one way or the other. If we were to vote today, I would be a no vote.
Okay, any other for the motion to approve? Any other comments on that? I hear that there is, conversation about a hold, but I just want to make sure on this motion, I want to make sure there's directors have comment. Any other directors have comment?
Motion to hold 2 months, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion to hold discussion for 2 months. Sorry, motion to hold 2 months discussion.
My question is, can we vote to extend the lease in this? I think it's fair to talk about extending the lease during that period of consideration.
We don't hold the lease. Cannot. The lease is with the city.
So, okay, the city has the lease, but the URA owns it?
So there are a number of parcels at play here, Ms. Thompson. Some are city, which is what Ms. Evans is currently leasing. And then there are also URA parcels that are part of this larger planned development.
Yeah, if we can't come to some satisfaction that while this is happening, the termination of the leases won't be held against Ms. Lunsford, I don't think that I'm not going to be okay with this.
I just want to make a note.
Need for further conversation, and there's a lot to untangle here. I totally understand that. But I don't think it's fair, knowing that these leases are expiring, that we make a decision to hold a decision and not make a decision about whether or not these leases can be extended. Doesn't sound fair.
I just want to make a note that the motion to hold for 2 months puts us into August, and we are in the Pittsburgh Land Bank does not meet in August. So
Is there a way to request an emergency meeting to address this so that we can get to at least some type of resolution on the leases, an extension on the lease while we're waiting to have those extended conversations? I guess I'm requesting, if we don't have control of the leases, can we request a meeting with whoever at the city and the URA who can make that decision to extend pending the results of our conversations and further decisions that need to be made?
Director Thompson, this is Acting Director Stadelman. We can't speak on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh, but I can certainly offer to make sure that we have Ebony connected with city planning today or as soon as possible to have that conversation. That was on my radar regardless, because like I said, regardless of the vote today, we cannot acquire this fast enough before that lease expires. And so that had to be addressed. I am certainly under the impression that the city of Pittsburgh would not, they will not be showing up. No one is going to be showing up the day after the lease expires to remove anyone. And so there are all friendly parties here to have that discussion to make sure that the 2025 growing season can continue on these lots.
I appreciate that, Sally, but I can tell you conversations that I've had with this group, I'm not sure they would feel confident that that wouldn't happen without something a little bit more legitimate and professional, something other than our word.
Well, it seems like, the Councilman Lavelle is going to be convening parties and they can have that discussion as they convene together for a discussion. I personally really like the idea of the elected officials involved and, if even the city planning department could be involved, I think that's an appropriate place and conversation for, because a plan, a neighborhood plan is involved here. That's really where the conversation should happen, not really at the land bank. So,
well, I just want to go on the record of saying that I think we could do better. I think we could do more. I understand everybody's position and the intricacies involved here, but I just want to go on the record and saying I don't really think it should be this difficult. And I want to be clear that the challenge that this group has had trying to do the right thing in this community is a little frustrating. So I am still maintaining the motion. I understand that everyone has a voice here, but I just want everyone to know where I stand.
Mr. Chairman, according to Robert's rules, motion to approve was on the floor before the motion to hold. Do we have to address the motion to approve? That's just my question. There was one motion on the floor first, and we moved and seconded it. We didn't approve or disapprove. And now another motion came on the floor after the first motion.
That does happen.
I'm just asking a question, how we do it, that's all.
Yeah. That does. I mean, this is typical for there to be a motion to hold once there is a a motion to approve. At least where I'm coming from city council. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Motion to hold is normally a priority motion, so it takes precedent over the motion to approve.
Okay, I mean, we've never done it like that in our organization, but doesn't mean it's right or wrong. I agree.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's right. And of course, the motion to hold could be voted down. But
Yeah, right. If the motion to hold was voted down or not never seconded, then that would then we would continue.
Thanks, Kirk.
Okay, we still have motion to hold for 2 months, and just for clarity, motion for hold 2 months puts us into a month where we don't convene. I would think that means that then gets held to the next meeting, which would be in September. Are there any other comments on motion to hold for two months?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, and I truly have a ton of respect for the position that Tammy Thompson has. I feel if we were to vote today, I would vote in the affirmative. But looking at this list of speakers, many of these folks are personal friends and folks I've known for many decades. So I just wanted to offer up that, even though it is not my district, and I definitely defer to Council President Lavelle. In his district, I'm happy to help out if I can. Play your sidekick on any diplomatic efforts, being that there are so many people that have testified today that I've known for over 30, in some cases over 40 years, that if I could be of any help, I'm just offering, myself up to see if we can come, to a positive resolution. But, in all cases, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Council President Lavelle, and, want to support him in his leadership in the district. But I did just want to note that due to so many folks that I know on this list that have spoken, hopefully that maybe I could be of some help to help come to a positive resolution. But again, deferring, all leadership in District 6 to Council President Lavelle. And thank you for your leadership, brother.
Thank you, Councilman. I will certainly take you up on that. I equally respect all the people who testified. It's just more complicated and nuanced than what was described.
Any other comments on the motion to hold for 2 months? If not, let's do a roll call vote on motion to hold for 2 months. Yeah.
Director Steve Mazza.
No.
Director Kahari Mosley.
Aye.
Councilman Bobby Wilson.
Yes. Aye.
Director Tamara Dudikovich.
No.
Director Wanda Wilson.
Aye.
Director Tammy Thompson.
No.
Director Kirk Berkeley.
Yes.
Councilman Daniel Lavelle.
Aye.
Or that's 5 yes votes, 3 no votes. Did I get everyone?
And everyone, sorry, we're just taking a count, make sure everyone has voted.
Yes, and Director Jennifer Cashwade has had to leave. Yes, so that's 8, and we need 5 for the motion to pass.
Okay, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3,
So I see
4, 5 ayes.
Yeah, and 3 no's.
3 no's. Motion passes the whole for 2 months. That moves us on to resolution number 37.
Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire block 22K, lots 64, 65, 67, and 68 on Fulton Street in the 21st Ward from the City of Pittsburgh at a cost not to exceed $30,000 using ARPA funds, and authorization to convey the same properties to Out of the End, Inc., a nonprofit associated with Ebony Lunsford Evans, for $30,000.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
What is the motion?
Motion to accept.
Motion to approve on the table. Is there a second?
Motion to approve.
Any discussion?
Well, I mean, I guess I would just bring my comments forward.
Mhm.
Thank you,
And-
Council President.
And again, I would make a motion to hold for 2 months.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the whole motion to hold for 2 months. If not, let's do a roll call vote again.
Director Steve Mazza,
No.
Director Kahari Mosley,
Aye.
Councilman Bobby Wilson,
Aye.
Director Tamara Dudikovic,
No.
Director Wanda Wilson,
Aye.
Director Tammy Thompson,
No.
Director Kirk Berkeley,
Yes.
Councilman Daniel Lavelle.
Aye.
That was 5 yes votes, no 3 no votes.
Motion passes to hold for 2 months. Brings us to resolution number 38.
Resolution number 38, resolution amending authorization 15 of 2025, which authorized the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire Block 83A, Lot 48 on North Aiken Avenue in the 11th Ward from the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh using ARPA funds, and authorization to convey the same property to Boys Hope Girls Hope of Pittsburgh for $50,000 to make the sale contingent on zoning approval for the proposed project.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Yes.
Second.
Okay. That's a motion to approve on the table. Any
Correct.
discussion?
Just some brief background on the board. We did receive the 15 objections required to hold an additional community meeting and bring this resolution back to the table. So this is back before the board today, both because of the objection process and also to offer an amendment to specifically make this sale contingent on zoning approval for the proposed plan.
Thank you.
That was actually a question I was going to have, Director, is what is this zoning district?
Ooh, it is I'm R2. I think it's
Okay. And is this the
2
permitted
units.
use in R2?
Well, and that was part of the initial part of the reason that this amendment was proposed is because I think when Boys Hope Girls Hope had first met with city planning, they had walked away from their meeting with the impression that this was a by right development. They've since had additional conversations with the zoning division, and it's not. I think that there is enough gray area that there isn't a final decision on whether or not there will be variances required without a submission. So we want to create that space for them to submit the application and have that determined. And then, of course, any zoning process will include additional opportunity for community input.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for the question.
Any further discussion?
I have an additional, and again, this may be open-ended. Do we know what the timeline on the zoning approval process is?
I'd say anywhere from 3 to 6 months,
Okay.
and it depends on both parties. So
And what zoning classification does it have to be rezoned to? Do we know?
ooh,
You know, you said
I'm hesitant
two.
my understanding is that it's an unlisted use. And so kind of making a final determination on what that use will be won't be a rezoning as much as, will that use require a variance?
Okay.
So, and I'm hesitant to even speak on it because, and why I'd like to defer to the zoning process to be completed so that can be a conversation between Boys Hope, Girls Hope, and the zoning division.
Sure. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to, acknowledge the various speakers that shared their support as well as the opposition, several whom I know personally. Today I'm comfortable voting in the affirmative, but I would like to work with, I forget the new nomenclature, because Boys Group, Girls Hope,
Hope Ignites.
Hope Ignites. When I had a conversation with them this morning about community engagement and some other things that if we can work together to engage the neighbors who have concerns, who live on North Aiken, as well as even potentially pulling in Domi if necessary, to address parking concerns and see if there's a way to address the parking situation to ensure that the folks on North Aiken, can park in front of their homes and to kind of remove that concern, as well as provide opportunity to provide some more information about, what Hope Ignite, does, because I do think that there is a bit of a discrepancy in how it was described by some commenters, and actually what I've learned about, the program. I understand this is a program for high achievers who may, come from a more challenging, background. Not that in my mind changes, anything about being committed. And I've always, been committed, my entire life to lifting up to least among us. But I just want to make sure that the residents and those who have concerns, as well as those who are in support, are all on the same page and understanding of what Hope Ignites is. So I offer up, my office and my staff who aren't here to speak for themselves. So, they're signed up no matter what, to work with Hope Ignites, as well as the those who commented in opposition. And I know at least one of the commenters opposition personally. I'll reach out to her to see how we can, improve the community engagement process and address, all of the concerns, to see if we can, find a way, to make this work. But I'm comfortable, voting in the affirmative today, but look forward to sitting down with those who do have concerns, as well as with Hope Ignites, and playing the role of bringing folks together to see if we can find a workable resolution.
Thank you. There further comment?
No, sir.
Well, I was just.
Oh, not for me.
Yeah, thank you.
You were looking at me. So
any other comments? Okay, seeing none, let's do a roll call vote on this one as well.
Okay. Oh, all right. We've Director Steve Mazza has left. So Councilman Kahari Mosley,
Aye.
Councilman Bobby Wilson,
Aye.
Director Tamara Dudikovich,
Aye.
Director Wanda Wilson,
Aye.
Director Tammy Thompson,
Aye.
Director Kirk Berkeley,
Aye.
Councilman Daniel Lavelle.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 yes votes.
7 yes votes. Motion passes. Moves us on to resolution number 39.
There we are. Chair, I'm going to propose that we need these to be separate for our sales processes, but I can read the next two together. If everyone's comfortable.
They're both to Monty Christian. Okay.
Yes. They're just
Okay, please read resolution number 39, resolution number 40.
Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire block 9S lots 181 and 187 on Hillside Drive in the 3rd Ward from the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh for a cost not to exceed $15,000 using ARPA funds, and authorization to convey the same property to Amani Christian Community Development Corporation for $15,000. And resolution number 40, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire block 26N lots 51, 52, 53, and 54 on Milwaukee Street in the 5th Ward from the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh for costs not to exceed $30,000 using ARPA funds, and authorization to convey the same property to Amani Christian Community Development Corporation for $30,000.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
There's a second.
Second.
And just brief background for the board, we have several of these on the agenda today. Amani Christian will be applying for a federal home loan bank grant to build affordable housing here. The way that our federal home loan bank process works is that we need to be able to give them a site control letter up front. They will work this summer on the very intensive federal home loan bank application process, and then we will have robust documents that will come from that application. The land bank does not acquire these properties until the federal home loan bank dollars are awarded. Please let me know if I can answer any additional questions.
It's part of the discussion. Any other discussion on 39 and 40? If not, all those in favor, please report by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? Okay, motion passes. I'm sorry. Motion passes for approval of 39 and 40. Moves us on to our next section of action items, city-owned properties, resolutions authorizing the acquisition of property from the city of Pittsburgh by the Pittsburgh Land Bank. And for resolution number 41, Director Steelman.
Resolution number 41, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire Block 14R, Lot 78, Block 14L, Lot 94, and Block 33A, Lot 349, also known as 63 Amanda Avenue, 103 Jacunda Street, and 408 Moore Avenue in the 30th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the structures for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out the structures, and sealing the building envelopes at a cost not to exceed $150,000 using ARPA funds, and authorization to convey the same properties to the Hilltop Alliance.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. Discussion.
Again, brief background for the board. These are, again, part of a federal home loan bank application where they need that site control letter up front. Well, there'll be robust plans created as part of that application. And we don't expect to acquire the properties until that grant funding is awarded.
Directors, any discussion on this? Number 41. If not, all those in favor, please report by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? Motion passes. Moves us on the resolution number 42.
Resolution number 42, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire Block 33F, Lot 13, also known as 236 Moore Avenue in the 30th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the structure for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out the structure, and sealing the building envelope at a cost not to exceed $50,000 using ARPA funds.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Okay, motion and a second. We're in the discussion phase.
Brief background for the board. This property is adjacent to the Hilltop Alliance's Federal Home Loan Bank application. All properties have been walked through, determined to be in an appropriate condition for this program. And this property will complement the work of the Hilltop Alliance on this street.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please report by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Motion passes. Moves us on the resolution number 43.
Resolution number 43, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire Block 11K, lots 78 and 78-2, 2 and 3 Seneca Street in the 4th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the properties for sale, including quieting the title at a cost not to exceed $20,000 using ARPA funds, and authorization to convey the same properties to Epic Development, an affiliate entity of Michael McAllister, for $20,000.
Is there a motion?
Could you advance the slide?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Is there a motion for resolution number 43? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? If there's no second, then
Second. Sorry.
okay. We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
So brief background for the board. I have been working with Uptown Partners. We actually went to attempt to tour these properties last summer. I was under the impression that this applicant today has been working closely with Uptown Partners and has had their support to proceed. So I was very surprised to hear the commentary from Uptown Partners today. And I would have to encourage this board to vote this down until we have that addressed. And I am sincerely, I'm very sorry that this to Uptown Partners. I was under the impression that they were supportive.
I agree.
Which is the only, yeah.
Thank you for that clarification, Director.
Any discussion?
Yes, I just want to add, I agree with Sally. I do think that we should wait and find out why Uptown Partners, I think we should have a discussion with Uptown Partners and check to see what their thoughts are about this.
Just for
Would
clarity,
we do a hold or would we vote it down?
I was just going to ask that clarification. If a bill is, I'm sorry, if a resolution is voted down, then is there a time period that we have in our bylaws that it couldn't be
No restrictions.
put back?
I should be able to return next month, if even with a no vote today.
Okay, any discussion on the motion to approve? Any further discussion?
Yes, this is Tamara Dudukovich. I have a suggestion that in the course of whether we decide to hold, vote down, whatever we are doing on these things, that we do reevaluate our process for when applications are being brought forward to the board for action, and to make sure that we are getting complete information, or as complete information as possible, because it seems as though several of today's actions, we're having different levels of transparency and information being shared with us.
Absolutely.
Any further comments on this motion to approve? All those in favor, please report by saying aye. All those report that will be voting no, please report and say no.
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 No. All right, negative recommendation for resolution number 43. Moves us on to resolution number 44.
Resolution number 44, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire Block 27B, Lot 365, Block 10D, Lot 381, Block 25S, Lot 204, Block 10C, Lot 26, also known as 749 Shawnee Street, 2926 Webster Avenue, 2905 Bedford Avenue, and 2526 Bedford Avenue in the 5th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the structures for sale, including quiet title, cleaning out the structure, and sealing the building envelopes at a cost not to exceed $150,000 using ARPA funds, and authorization to convey the same properties to the Hill Community Development Corporation.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Again, this is a proposed federal home loan bank application. We're just looking for site control here today so that the Hill CDC may put together redevelopment plans for these structures.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Any aye for myself. Any noes or abstentions? Resolution number 44 passes. It moves us on to the section of actions that are a pilot donation program. These are resolutions authorizing the acquisition of property via donation from a private owner by the Pittsburgh Land Bank. Resolution number 45.
Resolution number 45, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire Block 76E, Lot 27, also known as 1101 Woods Run Avenue in the 27th Ward via donation from Patricia Mehta, and to prepare the structure for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out the structure, and sealing the building envelope at a cost not to exceed $25,000 using ARPA funds.
Motion.
So motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
So brief background for the board. This is a brand new program and one that I am really very excited about us taking on. There are hundreds of properties in the city of Pittsburgh that have been tax delinquent for 10, 15 years. Often what happens is the property owner is evicted, thinks that they're evicted, for one reason or another, walks away from the property and finds out years later that their name is still on it, and they're then stuck. It's not possible to sell it because the taxes are too high. And so we are perfectly positioned at the Pittsburgh Land Bank to be able to clear those taxes away and allow a property to return back to the market. So what will happen with these properties, we've already identified the Hilltop Alliance as a buyer. Of course, if we have any other nonprofits that are interested in them, they will be prioritized, but they'll otherwise be listed through our residential rehab program and follow that process.
Is further discussion? If not, I just want to say I'm very familiar with this property, having representing this area for some time, so it's also good that we're taking action on something that's attached. That's pretty critical to maintain that whole structure. So all those in favor, please report by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes or abstentions?
Aye.
Abstain.
We have one abstention. Okay. All ayes and one abstention. And that was Tamara?
Yes.
Abstain? Okay. All right. And motion passes. That's resolution number 45. Moves us on to resolution number 46.
Resolution number 46, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire Block 42N, Lot 313, also known as 1321 Jeffers Street in the 20th Ward via donation from Juanita Hutchinson, and to prepare the structure for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out the structure, and sealing the building envelope at a cost not to exceed $50,000 using ARPA funds.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Moe?
Yeah.
Okay, second. Discussion.
This is the second of 4 on the agenda pertaining to this new donation program.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please report by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes or abstentions?
This is Tamara. Did you give it again? I will abstain again.
Duly noted. One abstention. Motion passes. Moves us on the resolution number 47.
Resolution number 47, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire block 14R, lot 79, also known as 65 Amanda Avenue in the 30th Ward from Wayne Rethage at a cost not to exceed, where did that? $10,000 using ARPA funds and authorization to convey the same property to the Hilltop Alliance.
Is there a motion?
Can you advance the slide?
Oh, yes.
There, we have a motion to approve on. Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Tammy.
Thank you. And discussion? Discussion.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Just a quick pause here. We were just counting to make sure if we did not have 5 votes on those last two, with Tamara's abstention, they actually might not pass. So sorry.
Oh.
I didn't, did we catch? You have 1 here. 2 here. 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah. And then so 6 members present, 5 voted yes. And then Tamara abstained. Right?
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's Kirk?
Kirk had to drop off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, and you might be right. Okay. Sorry. So I think actually those last 2 did not pass because we don't have 5 votes. So.
Okay, so that brings us. Sorry for the.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just want to clarify. So we have. We are on motion. We are on resolution number 48. It has come to our attention that for both resolutions.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think if members dropped off and they didn't announce it, then we weren't aware that they.
Resolution 46 and 47. We have our understanding is that we only had 5 members online, 4 ayes and 1 abstention for 46 and 47. But number 45, there were 6.
I think we don't know when Councilman Lavelle dropped off. I think that he was the last one that had us at 6. And who did we lose? So we have 6 members here, but we need 5 for something to be approved. So
okay,
we want to just
I just want to clarify for resolution number 45. Can we confirm that there were 6 members?
Yeah, so that did not pass because we received.
So we can't confirm. So okay, so we're gonna. So we can't confirm. So if we can't confirm, sorry, go ahead.
Clarifying question. Is the Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. I want to ask a clarifying question. Is the issue that we no longer have quorum, or is the issue that by abstaining, I'm preventing the vote, whereas if I vote no, it would pass?
We have a quorum, so we have 5.
Yeah.
And so the question is that the resolutions that in the pilot donation program, once we started that part of the meeting, that we only had 5 online, and that the 4 wouldn't allow for a positive for I'm sorry, wouldn't allow it to pass any of those. So
right. I guess my question.
I'm not asking you. Yeah, I'm not asking you to reconsider. I was just.
No, I'm asking as if I vote no, would it pass?
No.
No.
Okay. So I wasn't sure if it was a question of abstention or the vote. So thank you.
And an abstention is essentially a no vote.
Right. No, but I didn't know if it didn't count as a vote. That's all.
I understand.
Thank you.
And I believe since this isn't committee, this isn't a committee vote, this is final vote, and final vote you would need 5 votes to pass.
And also I have my our attorneys seem to have some thoughts for us. So I'm trying to see if Alex, are you able to speak?
Hey everybody, this is Alex Thomas. I'm the URA's counsel, filling in for the land bank today. Can someone just kind of give me a summary of what just happened here?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you the summary. So once we started the resolution 45, we can't confirm whether we had 6 members of the land bank online or in person, and so that we're realizing that those whenever we were counting up the votes, that there would only be 4 ayes that could be confirmed for 45, 46, 47, and we're on 48 right now.
Okay. So can we go back to the members who were present for, was it resolution 46, Councilman Wilson?
So if we go back to where we can't confirm, that will be resolution number 45.
Okay. Then can we get a roll call of who's present? I think since we're dealing with some procedural issues, maybe it might make sense to.
Yeah, this is making me realize in the future we're gonna have to have members. This meeting has been longer than any of our other meetings. I understand that people may need to drop off if they have other obligations, but yeah, certainly we'll do a roll call for 45, 46, 47 to reconfirm what the votes were. Also, can you confirm if 4 votes? I'm sorry, can you confirm that 5 votes is needed to approve any resolutions, or is it just the majority?
It's a simple majority. So if we have 6 members present, we would only need 4 votes.
No.
I was under the impression the ordinance required that anytime we are selling property, we need a majority of the board, not majority of members present.
Yeah,
so
so
if we're selling property over $50,000, then a majority board vote is required. Otherwise, we follow Robert's Rules of Order, which just requires a simple majority.
Oh, okay.
Are any of these properties?
Okay, so it sounds like that. So Alex, it sounds like you're saying it does pass because we have the majority of members.
Well, are any of these properties being sold for 50,000?
Well, the property wasn't being sold. It was just being brought into you mean sold to us or sold
acquired
to an
or
end
sold.
user?
So if land bank is paying over 50,000, then we would need a majority vote.
No, these are all donations,
not.
so that we will not be.
We can't just follow the rule. Okay.
Yeah, we can do a simple majority.
Okay.
Okay, so 4 is approval if it is the majority of 5. Okay.
Great.
All right. So at the request of our legal person online, we're gonna try and go quickly back to resolution number 45. And that is the resolution acquisition of 1101 Woods Run Avenue.
No, they passed. I don't think we need to read them again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you want us to do a roll call, Alex?
Yes, please. Yeah, that would.
Yes, let's do a roll call vote on number 45. Sally, roll call vote, number 45.
Director Wanda Wilson.
Aye.
Councilman Kahari Mosley.
Aye.
Councilman Bobby Wilson.
Aye.
Director Tammy Thompson.
Aye.
Director Tamara Dudakovich.
No, abstention.
Okay, 4 ayes, motion passes. Resolution number 46, roll call.
Director Wanda Wilson.
Aye.
Councilman Kahari Mosley.
Aye.
Councilman Bobby Wilson.
Aye.
Director Tammy Thompson.
Aye.
Director Tamara Dudakovich.
Abstain.
Okay, 4 ayes, motion passes. Resolution number 47.
Resolution number 47, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire block 14R lot.
Roll call.
Oh, just roll call? Okay, I already did that. Sorry, apologies. Roll call vote, Director Wanda Wilson.
I'm sorry, is this for 65 Amanda Avenue?
It's 47, which is 65 Amanda Avenue, correct?
Okay. Aye.
Councilman Kahari Mosley.
Aye.
Councilman Bobby Wilson.
Aye.
Director Tammy Thompson.
Aye.
Director Tamara Dudikovich.
Abstain.
Okay, we have 4 ayes. Motion passes, which brings us to the current bill we were discussing, resolution number 48. Are there any further discussion on resolution number 48?
I think we skipped. Did we skip? Sorry. Oh yeah, apologies. Resolution number 48, authorization.
We already, so so when we went back, before we went back, we already had a motion to approve in a second for measures number 98, and that's when it was found. So we still have a motion on the floor for approval of number 48.
Yeah, that was 47. We haven't gotten to 48 yet. Like we're starting fresh with number 48.
Let's just do it again.
Yeah.
So resolution number 48.
Resolution number 48, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire block 33B, lot 317, also known as 243 Moore Avenue in the 30th Ward, via donation from Carl Greenlee at a cost not to exceed $10,000 using ARPA funds, and authorization to convey the same properties to the Hilltop Alliance.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
All right, discussion.
Any questions from the board?
Any questions from the board on this one? If not, do a roll call vote.
Director Wanda Wilson.
Aye.
Councilman Kahari Mosley.
Aye.
Councilman Bobby Wilson.
Aye.
Director Tammy Thompson.
Aye.
Director Tamara Dudikovich.
Abstain.
4 ayes, motion passes. Moves us on to PLB owned property. Resolutions authorizing conveyance of property from the PLB's inventory to an end user. And that brings us to resolution number 49.
Resolution number 49, authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to convey block 24C, lot 192, also known as 1257 High Street, to Stephen Pierre for $20,000.
There a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Is there a second for resolution number 49?
Second.
We have a motion, a second discussion.
This is the second property in our residential rehab program that we're bringing under contract. So this home will soon be occupied by Mr. Stephen Pierre as an owner occupant. Any questions?
Any questions, discussion? If not, roll call vote for this.
Director Wanda Wilson.
Aye.
Councilman Kahari Mosley.
Aye.
Councilman Bobby Wilson.
Aye.
Director Tammy Thompson.
Aye.
Director Tamara Dudikovich.
Aye.
5 ayes, motion passes. Moves us back to the a couple parts of the agenda that was skipped to move to the final action. Brings us to the chairman's report, the approval of the 2025 board meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Board minutes are approved. That brings us to our treasurer's report. And at this point, I will hand it over to Director Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today we have the May financials. So we've closed the month of May. Everything's been entered. And I don't really have anything to note on the income statement for you. We also have the balance sheet and the budget versus actual on. If we could go to the budget versus actual slide. I will note that one of our priorities right now is determining the exact process for bringing in the ARPA grant. Well, then you went too far. So go back one. to the budget versus, this is the budget versus actual. And you can see that for ARPA grant revenue and city bond pay. Oh, sorry. Oh, you need to stay where?
Wait. Here, yeah. I remember there's a delay. Sorry, Wanda.
There we go. Okay, sorry. That, we are working through the process of bringing in the ARPA grant revenue and the city PAYGO revenue that is in our budget, but not yet, not yet received. We don't really see an issue with that. It's just, again, paperwork and bureaucracy that we're dealing with bringing those funds in. But I would highlight for the board that that is something we're paying close attention to. I, as your treasurer, am paying a lot of attention to that on behalf of the board. Otherwise, that's my main note on budget versus actual. The balance sheet, if we could go back one, is still a healthy balance sheet, and we still have cash to cover our costs while we're waiting for those revenue sources to come in. So we're still okay on paying our bills and everything, and are still positive net balance. Then we would go 2 slides forward to our expenses for the month that we need to approve. The ones that are listed here are just some expenses that there's one related to property that we didn't approve an expense allocation for that particular property when we took an action on that property. So we'll see those actual costs come through on our expenses for board approval. So as your treasurer, I will make the motion to accept the May 2025 financial report and approve the May 2025 monthly expenditures.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All right. No discussion. All those in favor, please report by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes or abstentions?
And we do have another item for action that I guess maybe we don't have a slide for. We did provide the draft audit reports for the calendar year 2024 audit that has been completed. And there was a lot of activity with the audit this year, but no findings. We had some suggestions from the auditors of how we are recording the properties as we are acquiring properties into our inventory and how those are being recorded on the balance sheet. So it was actually a really helpful process going with the auditors and the bookkeepers on the process for that. That was kind of the main thing really that was a discussion item, was just really making sure we had that process in place. But no real findings, a clean audit. And that is completed, and I will make a motion to approve the 2024 calendar year, our fiscal year 2024 audit.
She's a second.
Thank you.
Second.
Is there a motion?
Second. Did she motion?
You motion, all right. Second. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you, Director Wilson. And that moves us to our second period of public comment. If there are any, please use the raise hand function in the bottom menu if you wish to speak during public comment. As a reminder, public comment is taken at the beginning and end of the second meeting. At the beginning and a second time at the end of the meeting, we are at that point. Please state your name, neighborhood, and or organization affiliation. You have 3 minutes to speak. Do you have any hands raised?
Any raised hands going once, going twice?
Okay.
All right. It appears we have no public comment. We have no speakers, Chair.
Okay. If not, I want to make just an announcement about our next board meeting that's scheduled, and that is for July 11th. And if there are there any other comments from the board? If not,
Councilman Mosley, yes.
Councilman?
Yeah, I just want to thank the very robust list of commenters that we had today. It was highly unusual, but also speaks to the importance of democracy and giving folks a voice, and look forward to meeting with and talking with and trying to identify ways to find resolutions for the two initial items that we went over today. Obviously, one in my district, the one in Garfield, but also as a native of Manchester who knew almost everyone that was commenting on the Manchester project. Look forward to again playing second fiddle to Council President Lavelle to see if we can find a resolution to that situation as well. But I just want to thank all the folks who commented. That truly strengthens our democracy and ensures that folks have a voice in the process. And so we're here to listen to y'all. So it makes it a little bit longer meeting, but I think it's still it's important to the process. And so I encourage folks to continue to make sure your voices are heard in ensuing months.
Thank you. Any other further comments from the board? If not, I just wanted to mention, I want to thank all of our staff here at the URA helping us work through this. People that work in the audio and also City Channel and our land bank staff as well. And I also just want to mention that, I realized that we did have to ask legal opinion here to guide us through a part of the meeting. So we definitely should have further discussion with our board and our legal team in terms of just how we're monitoring, whether or not we have quorum. Since we do a hybrid meeting, we'll have to just make sure that we're just putting the correct action in place, whether that's roll call when we get down to a certain number. So we'll discuss that further. We want to make sure that we're always in line with all of our rules and regulations. So and Robert's rules and everything that we're required to do, so that we're doing the good work for the public. All right, I will take a motion to adjourn if there's no further comments.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.